I joke about us being the best in the state and all that. I mean, we are, but you can't get to that right away.
Hello and welcome to the Daktronics Experience Podcast. I'm Justin Oxner here with Matt Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about Watertown High School. We're here with Ryan and Austin. Let's get a little introduction before we get too far into the details here. But Ryan, so let's start with you and kind of what's your role and how did you get involved with Watertown's productions?
All right, so I'm a police officer at the Watertown Police Department, just north of Daktronics Studios here. And I was refereeing basketball games at the time that Daktronics was installing new video boards in the Watertown Civic Arena. And activities director asked if I had any kids that were interested in doing some production work, creating some content on the video boards. And at the time I went home, I had 3 kids in the high school at the time, and they said, "No, I don't want to do that, Dad. I want to watch the game with my friends." And a couple days later, though, they had a change of heart, and it kind of the snowball started rolling from there. And pretty soon I got a chance to work with a bunch of my own kids and a bunch of their friends over the course of the next few years as they went through high school.
I think we even joked about it leading up to this, that what made them change their minds. You never asked me.
Yeah,
know why they changed
I have
their minds.
no idea what changed their mind, but they're kind of tech savvy kids, like a lot of kids are now. And I think they saw that as an opportunity to, do something good for their school.
Yeah. The production they did there, was it like creating graphics and running it during the event, or kind of what was the production?
Originally, it was just, the typical green screen graphics of like the starting lineup kind of stuff is what we started out with. There was no live video originally. Okay. So it was just that. And then when we weren't playing that, it was just a fixed, like a scoreboard. Then we would just put the scoreboard on there. But that got boring in a hurry. So.
And now, Austin, what's your role currently and kind of how do you fit into the production there?
Yeah, so I work for the school district in the IT office. I work in the technology office as a district technician. So K through 12 devices I issue out to students and staff, and then on the back end of that, we have to support the athletics department and the activities department as they have all sorts of different technology and things that they need supported. And so I came on when I got hired with the school district. I used to work for the police department. Actually, Ryan was my boss.
Oh, okay.
So
there's that connection.
But I didn't know that Aero TV was even a thing at that time. Like I had no idea. And so when I got hired on with the school district working in that capacity, I knew some of the ideas behind what we wanted to do in the civic arena and how we wanted to enhance that. And I don't know, did Aero TV start like right as soon as you started messing with the video boards, or did it kind of transition into Aero TV?
We hadn't really come up with the name Aero TV yet. Yeah. That's one of the kids that kind of developed that and then came up with a logo. Mm-hmm. But we didn't call it anything originally. It was just a group of kids and cops that were creating video content and doing some live video in-house before we were starting to stream on YouTube or anything. We just didn't call it Aero TV yet.
So did we have commentators and things at that point, or was it just video boards?
Just live video for in-house purposes.
So because the Daktronics boards got installed, that kind of sparked the whole idea. Craig Boyens, our activities director, said, "Hey, we need something up here. We have these video boards, now we need content for it. Do you have anybody who's interested in building content?" Yeah. And Craig asked you, is my understanding, right? Yep. And then from that point on, I'm just trying to understand the history of this, but then I got involved, right? At some point, I got involved as an IT person who wanted to bring in all of these different skill sets that I had and graphic design things and whatever I could bring to the Aero TV team as a school employee, as a school district employee, to help in the civic arena primarily. So
nice. And was that, when they kind of came to you, you're in IT, so help connect everything, but was it kind of, was there an interest level there right away? Because was this something you always kind of wanted to get into? I don't know, like sports production, broadcast kind of stuff.
Well, I didn't know necessarily that I wanted to be involved in it until I was. I used to run the scoreboard for basketball in middle school. Okay. Actually, as a middle school student, somebody asked me, "Do you have any interest in running? We need somebody to run our clock for some middle school basketball games or whatever." So I'm familiar with Daktronics in the sense of running either the All Sport 5000 or whatever for the basketball games. Yeah. But afterwards, I went to college and got my bachelor's degree and went into law enforcement for 3.5 years. So I didn't have any interest really in anything tech related or anything revolving around, like I had always had a computer background. Yeah. I had always tinkered with computers and done stuff with technology and electronics. But my primary mission in life at that point was to be on the South Dakota Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which is investigating digital forensics cases primarily in the state of South Dakota. And so I got into that role, and I was in that position with the police department working as a detective. And then I left that role, but I got to take on what's even a more fulfilling and more fun role, working for the school district and partnering with Aero TV and doing that. So I enjoy that stuff, and then getting involved in learning the Daktronics atmosphere and all the different software products and all of that, and then coupling it with how we do our broadcast, it's just kind of become something I do now, and it's a lot of fun.
So when you're talking about that Daktronics world that you're working in and the technology, we're talking about a quick tech call out here. The Daktronics installation in 2021 in the gym and in 2024 for football. So the gym has a 4-sided center hung one. They're all 7 by 12. And then there's an end wall that is 10 by 16 and a half, all 3.9 millimeters pixel spacing. And then at football, it's 10 and a half by 36 feet, and that's a 13 HD, just so we understand the technology you guys are working with there.
Yeah, and then can you kind of talk about it maybe a little bit too of, the Civic Arena first getting that board, and you mentioned it didn't have live video, so it was a lot of graphics and pre-recorded video, right, to play up there.
Yep.
And then how did that even go into this? I mean, the kids, I don't know if they were around still then, but obviously it's grown since then, so I don't know how did it go from then to now.
We started out with I think there was 5 kids that first year, 3 of them that were my own, and then 2 of their friends. And we found almost instantly, though, that people were willing to help us out. The Lake Area Tech, right across the street from the high school, they supplied us with two cameras, legit cameras that we were using, and we still use. They were just a little bit outdated for their purpose, for their media production classes over there, so they gave them to us. And the wrestling moms, they came up and gave us like $1,600 one night. They had ran like a 50-50 drawing or something at a wrestling match. Nice. And so we bought another camera with that. And before too long, then we had 3, 4, 5 good cameras that we were able to use, and enough kids to man those cameras. So pretty soon we're able to have like baseline cameras at a basketball game, and mat side cameras for wrestling, and sideline for football, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Like I said earlier, where it's just you start out with 1 or 2 cameras, and pretty soon it's a 7 or 8 camera production that we're doing in the present day.
So there's a lot of students involved in running the actual production for basketball and football and other gym events. Yeah,
the adults like Austin and I, we try to stay out of the spotlight or stay out of the way and let it be the kids as a learning experience. There's our commentators are adults for the most part. We've run with some student commentators sometimes, but it's very difficult to, 1, put a good product out with student commentators, and then 2, to find the students that can do that or that want to talk on camera. Those kids that know about the game are generally down there on the playing surface doing that. And the kids that can talk really well, they're in debate and speech and some other more academic things. They don't know anything about the game. So it's to find some kid that knows the game and can talk well is really a challenge. But adults, they don't have any problem talking about it.
Yeah. And then bringing in live, I'm not sure when you kind of came into this too. Was it when they're getting the cameras, or maybe just tying a little bit?
No, so Aero TV was already going. Okay. It was already started and operational, and video boards and broadcast were both components that was happening. So I didn't really have anything to do with the creation or the development of anything. We just added an extra element to what we could do once I came in. So whether it was graphic design or if we wanted to add motion graphics or things in-house or on the broadcast, stuff like that. I like After Effects, Adobe After Effects. Yeah. I like making stuff in Adobe After Effects, and I knew that I could add in some things like stats and graphics and things like that.
Also the networking and all the infrastructure at the IT stuff at the school. Those first couple of years without Austin, we were literally just broadcasting off like an AT&T hotspot because the school didn't give us internet access.
You have to understand, this actually didn't even start as a school program, right? It was something that the activities director asked Ryan to start, and if he had any interest in it, but it wasn't even a school program that was funded by the school or anything like that. It was just an idea.
We're using a laptop that I bought at Walmart for like $300, and there was no way they were going to let that onto the school's network. So
exactly. There's concerns with what can we allow, what can we not allow, and networking problems with. And so you run into those kinds of challenges, and at some point it's like this needs to be a school program, and not only does it need to be a school program, but we need to provide the resources and the support to that program, and that was something that I brought on when I started working for the school.
Okay. And you got cameras, and then you mentioned broadcast. Does that mean you're like streaming these games and so other people can watch online?
That's the biggest challenge, is you're trying to do 2 things at once. And then we're not the only ones doing this, but it's the in-house video for the video boards, and then meanwhile we're also doing a YouTube stream that we'd like to think is the best in the state, and if I ever see one that's even close, we'll just up our game a little bit. I'm super competitive.
There's no way I'm going to win the state.
Oh, 100%. There's no question.
There's no question.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes, Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, just the capabilities that we have. So we have the replay capability. We have two,
I was gonna ask about
two
replay,
replay controllers, right? So not only do we have an instant replay that's actually instant and you can go back by the instant and look at it, but we have one that records all of our camera angles. And so based off of whatever camera angle is the best camera angle, if we have somebody, we always have to have enough kids to run this stuff, right? And if we don't have enough kids, you decrease your production value a little bit to increase the number of cameras you have. Because we can't do this thing unless we have, what, 5 camera angles?
Probably a minimum of 5, and then that's a crew of about 10 or 12 people, not counting the commentators.
And so unless we have enough students who show up to run the cameras, we can't do the things like add graphics and add extra replays. We'll still do some replays. We can do some replays with limited capability, but adding the extra replays or adding the extra
rollouts
graphics.
of at the end of a quarter break
Exactly,
or like at a time like a highlight thing.
Stuff like that.
You got to have somebody that's there to be building those last 3 baskets that were made at or the drive summary at a football game or something. You
to man all that stuff and build it and then put it out, on air basically. And so most of the time when we're doing a production or we're working on something, whatever we're doing for the broadcast is typically also going to our video boards. We don't separate those out very often because we don't have a crew to be able to make that work.
2 simultaneous productions at the same time.
Or have separate cameras going only to the video board versus what's going out to the broadcast. So usually it's the same thing, and usually it's whatever camera angle we're seeing on the broadcast live as our program feed is also what's going out to the people who are in-house in the arena.
And so it's a lot better than just one stationary camera.
Oh, exactly, 100%.
Just doing 100%.
Yeah, and you see that sometimes too, and it's it's fine for certain things, but seeing those different angles, certainly seeing replays. I mean, it adds not only to the broadcast for the people who can't see those things at home, but it adds to the in-house experience when you have that up on the video board and people can see and react to whatever it was that just happened. We love that stuff.
Just gonna say, you're there or not, you get to see the same replay and the same thing that everybody else is experiencing.
Exactly.
So
it also taught me how good high school officials are too, because we're up there looking at like different angles of this, what's his foot on the line, or and it's like, God, they got that right a lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot
it's
of
very
time.
rare.
Right. We'll be like, I don't know. I don't know if that was right. So it's not a right call, and you go back and you look at the replay and you slow it down, 50% or something, and you're like, oh yeah, they did. That's weird. But they're closer to the game. I always say they're closer to the game.
You're able to see it all in real time. So I'm trying to think, when you had the 5 kids, 3 of them were your kids, to now where you're just mentioning 10 to 12 take to run it. What was it like even between then and now? Was it people started to learn what those 5 kids did and started saying like, oh, that looks fun, that looks cool? And then, I mean, obviously when there's the live video aspect brought in, like you mentioned with actually getting cameras and stuff now, is there just like a buzz in high school? Like, is it a mix of freshmen to seniors, or kind of how is it laid out right now?
It's weird. Every fall when school's about ready to start again, I still get a little nervous. Are we going to have a batch of kids this year that want to do this? But it's helpful now. We've got a couple of sponsors that came on board. The first couple of years, these kids and the adults, everybody has volunteered their time. And we're talking 57 broadcasts in a year is what we typically do. So there's a lot of time that these kids were donating. But now we got a couple of sponsors, so they're making enough money to make it worth their while to come and show up and do that. But what the cool part about that is with those kids is there's some of them now that they want to go on to do some kind of sports media production as a career. So we found that with a handful of them that they're sophomores in high school right now, but they didn't know what they wanted to do last year, but now they know they want to do something in that line of work.
Yeah, we hear that a lot when we talk to other high schools or even colleges that have kids coming into high school that have ran video boards in high school, how nice it is to jump right in. But a lot of them almost always seems like that underlying story is always, I didn't know this was a career. And then when I found out it can be, that's what I want to do.
Right. They can't be what they can't see. That's the line we've been going with.
That's a side quote there.
Yeah. So you even mentioned sponsorships too, and maybe you've got sponsor stuff that you're playing. Is that going on the live stream too? And are your kids involved in doing that, the students?
Yeah, and that's like what Austin was talking about, where there's sometimes that's the one time where we'll put different content on the in-house boards versus the live stream is 2 different sets of sponsors that we have to accommodate there. So while some in-house sponsor commercial is playing, we've got a different sponsor commercial playing on the live stream. But the kids will sometimes, I don't know that we've ever had a kid that's like helped make a commercial for one of the sponsors or anything. But
kinda
but they're
get set the
triggering
content.
they're triggering the
They're
commercials.
running
and-
display studio. We typically would have if we have a full house, we'd have a kid that's running display studio who's doing anything in house, triggering those graphics or running, motion graphics or whatever during the game, or putting up graphics of whoever it is that scored or whatever. Just that in-house engagement type stuff that you can do. And then that obviously isn't going out on the broadcast because the broadcast is its own source. And so, but when we want to switch back from that file we just played in Display Studio, all they have to do is press a button that we call cameras. They press the camera button and then it goes back to our broadcast feed. So
Nice.
that's kind of how we have it set up.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the 50 some a year. You said that you do.
Yeah, I think it was 57 is the most we've done. And
Oh, wow.
That was going to be
It's,
my question. And too, you mentioned like going into fall and Justin did the tech call out for what you have in the gym and football. What are all the different sports that Aero TV that you do cover for this?
well, you got your big 4 or 5 or so the football in the fall, football, volleyball. And then we sometimes do cheer and dance competitions. That's held in the fall, like when Watertown hosts one of those. That gets tricky though with copyright issues because music and stuff.
Music is tough.
yeah.
And
YouTube and
moms of
music don't.
cheerleaders don't understand that. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't this on? It's like
Right.
because we can put it on, but it's got to be silent.
Yeah,
Right.
Interpretive dance, there you go.
Yeah. And then in the winter season, you've got both boys and girls basketball, wrestling, gymnastics. We've even covered some debate. We don't have the cameras in there, but we'll interview some of the debate participants and coaches,
Okay.
and put together like a special feature on that. So not necessarily a live broadcast, but is that it? Am I missing anything? We've done soccer highlights.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Baseball.
We did baseball.
Yeah, we did a state baseball tournament.
baseball
Oh, yeah?
tournament. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
So do you have commentators for each one or different students showing up that know each different sport or activity?
Yeah, well, we've got a group of like adults that do the football. People know football, so they do the commentary there. And then we've got the kids that will typically this last season, they did a large role of being sideline reporters. So we've got the kid that knows the game of basketball that's down there behind the bench getting like, hey, is that hamstring hurting you or whatever?
Yeah.
So he's doing that. And then we've also got a gal or 2 or 3 that are doing like more of the warm fuzzy is what I call it, like where they'll go and they'll interview that kid down there that's playing. This is his birthday today, so let's go talk to his mom up in the stands. So we got a quarter break.
Yes.
We're talking to the mom.
That's fun.
Or if you got like I remember one time we had like there was 3 generations from a visiting school. Actually, it was one of the Sioux Falls schools. 3 generations there watching their like great grandson playing. So we got to go up and do a special feature interview at a quarter break, and
Wow.
and it's kind of fun. It's the stuff that that separates what we're doing from
100%.
from your typical high
You're
school
backing up
live
the
stream.
best streaming. You said
Yeah.
South Dakota
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
Well, the cool thing about it is Ryan Remmers knows everybody, and so he can be like that guy is this kid's grandson, and then we should go talk to this guy about this guy so that we know. And then he goes and he tells some high school kid like, hey, why don't you go interview them? And they're like, what am I going to ask? Like, so they go up and they're like, so what do you think of the game? Okay, thanks. That's our feature.
He's well connected over there. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm old, so like.
I was gonna say, do you like have like group meetings then? Like I got a bunch of questions on thoughts in my head that you're doing all these other types of things. Is it kind of, do you have like a pre-production meeting where you come up with these ideas?
Well,
or?
we probably should, but there's a lot of winging it that's involved
Okay.
because
On the
there's
fly.
a lot. We've got a set of
on the fly.
binoculars up there in the booth that we'll use for like lookalike cams,
Lookalike
like where
cams.
like you're
Yeah.
trying to do like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But we'll also use those, and I'll go like, "Is that?"
Yeah.
So I get the binoculars on. I'm like, "Yeah, that's Bob.
this is
He
his
played for
delegate right
O'Gorman in 1992,
Yeah,
and
oh
now
my
his
gosh.
kid is here.
Yep.
Let's send
right.
send the gal over to talk to him."
You're the
and-
scout.
yeah,
That's right.
and just a lot of winging it.
Yep.
All on the fly. That's a lot of, real world experience for these kids. Like, I'm going to go up here and
100%.
interview this person.
Yeah.
I'm going to push the buttons on this and do all that.
Yep.
Are they taking any of this and saying, hey, now I've got this, I can take this to the next level and say, okay, like you said, some are sophomores and they're going to know they want to do it now throughout. Is there any of them that have said, hey, I want to take this to college if I could?
There's one in particular. His name's Conrad Pitkin. He's his brother last year was like the starting quarterback on the football team. So he spent watching all the football games, wrestling, basketball up there. But he's told me that that's something that he wants, and I've talked to his mom about it too. That something he wants to do for a living someday. Yep. So
Get into sports broadcasting, and
There you go.
And he knows sports, and that's.
In addition to that too, I've got the 2 of the kids that are my own. They're down here at SDSU. And they had no intention of doing this. And one of them doesn't have any intention of doing this for a career, but that one of them is a math and data science major, but just recently told me he might not want to use that. And I'm like, but you could make a lot of money in that field. And but he's now exploring some kind of sports media production stuff is what he'd really like to do, or something in that field. And because for the last 5 or 6 years, he's been doing this and then doing it at SDSU too. So.
Under Eric Ray, so shout out for Eric Ray here.
There you go.
Also for changing his mind and not being math anymore. So thanks, Eric.
Well, and Eric's been great to us too, because a few times we've brought students, like our group of students, we'll just pile them in Suburbans and bring them down the road, and they get the chance to see like what an SDSU production looks like. So they're welcome to sit in there and give us the little badges so that they're down there on the floor for a basketball game and behind the scenes in the production room. And
that's kind of, I was wondering, like the back and forth of like, we've heard from some high schools where someone goes on to do it in college, right? But then if they come back for homecoming or whatever it may be, to meet with the students who are currently active, it's like a high school alum coming back to say like, hey, here's how we did things. Is that kind of what you all have going on? I mean, you mentioned coming down to SDSU. It's just sometimes helpful to see. Yeah,
we're still waiting for that first time where one of our kids we're new enough. This whole thing started really in 2021. So all these kids are just now currently in college or still in high school. So it'll be a neat thing the first time that somebody comes back and does that.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that there's interest from some of those students that might not be playing any sports or might not be athletes themselves that are like, oh, I can still do this type of thing. I'm interested in this broadcast type tech thing and sports, even though I don't play?
I think so. It gives them something to do. It's the kids that we have on our crew, for the most part, are kids that would otherwise not be at the arena that night or at the stadium that night. It's not like it was when I was in high school where there was 5,000 people in our civic arena watching a basketball game. You know, it's just not the thing to do anymore as much as it used to be. So this gives them a chance to do something meaningful for their school, for our viewers, for the people in attendance.
And they're getting paid.
Yeah, they're getting paid.
We're paying them to run a camera, or to become, after you run the camera a few times, maybe you want to try the role as a technical director. And so we allow them to change and decide, if they want to advance, I guess is the right word, but change what role they want to play and how they want to do things and learn more. It's all about capability too. Who's capable of what? Some kids are only capable of certain camera work, and other kids are capable of maybe designing graphics. So it just depends on what roles they could play.
Yeah. They get to try it out and get paid for it at the same time. So part-time job while I try something new.
That's exactly why I ran the clock in high school. Somebody told me I'd get paid to run and watch basketball games, and I'm like, I don't really care to play basketball. I'm not going to get paid for that. So why don't I go run the clock and get paid for that? And that was cool. So
yeah. And we've mentioned kind of the size of the displays and the locations and the cameras and instant replays. And I was wondering, maybe it's for you, Austin, is there one control room? I'm just kind of curious on the control room setup. How is it with both, the gym and the football? Is there one main one? Do they each have kind of their own on-site control rooms? Or how are you wiring it all up?
Right. Yeah. So the technical side of things, we have our press box in the Civic Arena, and then we have our press box, or actually it's a video room. We just built our new stadium, the Allen Mitchell Athletic Complex in Watertown. State-of-the-art facility, brand new, just opened last year,
played one football season.
One football season so far. Okay. And so we had some kinks to work out as far as networking and cabling, and where do we want like the All Sport Pro to go? Where do we want our announcer to go versus where do we want our broadcast stuff to go in our video room, and like the person that's triggering, display studio? Where do we want all of these different pieces to be? Do we want them all together? Because that seems like a lot of talking, right? It's a lot of talking to be calling camera shots and hearing somebody who's announcing over the PA system. So where do we want all these people to go? And then once we kind of figured that out after a while, we separated ourselves out. And so we have a very nice place now, much better than our old place at the old stadium.
Where is that another statement there?
Yeah. It was a nice old stadium, but it was good to see it go.
Good to see the improvements.
It was a WPA project from like the early 40s, and it's still standing, still used for baseball. But
Yep.
So you mentioned that then, and you talked about doing, events at both. How does that go if you have events on the same day? Do you have enough production equipment to do two at the same time, or do you kind of chop it up to try and get bare minimums, or how do you handle that?
Fortunately, they don't schedule it that way very often. There is occasionally a situation where there's soccer and volleyball going on, but we historically haven't done soccer, which sometimes causes some problems. But like I said, 57 broadcasts. Now you add 12 girls soccer home games, 12 boys soccer. I mean, that's, I don't have, I got to have a life outside of my real job plus, this thing. So,
and the kids do, or you need a lot
well,
more.
right.
Kids.
We'd have to have more kids. You'd have to have more equipment. So maybe at some point you could split it up and say, hey, we're going to do 4 of these. We're going to do 4 of these, whatever. But then you got to haul that equipment from place to place, right? You got to set it all up. And people don't realize that when you set up all these cameras, it takes time and wiring, and you got to get all the computers working and make sure everything's working. And that's more time than even running the event. Sometimes is setting it up.
Yeah, we'll typically spend. It's different in the middle of basketball season when you just leave the stuff there and we just got to go. And carry the cameras down to their spots and plug them in. I mean, that's pretty easy. But football, you can't just leave stuff sitting outside because we don't have a dome. So like, I mean, if it's a 3-hour-long football game, I'm usually there at noon for a 7:00 start.
Right.
And I mean, you got 7 hours of build time for 2.5 hours of football time.
Yeah. And it sounds like you guys are doing a lot with what you've got there and trying to maximize, number of students, number of events. When you go to these events, do you see like, I'm going to another event now. Am I looking at ideas to bring back to here that I could implement? Or you see that when you're watching 100%. TV and looking at those sports?
I look at sports broadcasts on TV now in a different light. I'm like, hey, Austin, we could do that. For instance, I was at a International Association of Chiefs of Police conference in Boston, and I somehow found my way up to the TD Garden Daktronics patrol production room up there. And there was a young guy from Wyoming, and I'm like, I'm from South Dakota, and he's from Wyoming. So I spent like 2 hours up there, And like he was showing me the Boston Bruins and Boston Celtics, like some of the special features they did with their players. It was like Pictionary that they did. And I'm like, well, I got an iPad, and we can do that. One year we did like gymnastic Pictionary, and like they were one player is trying to guess what the other player is drawing, and you can see them drawing it on the iPad, and so we're getting ideas from the big time places and trying to do what we can do with our own students.
Right. Yeah. With the budget we have, right? Because you go there and you're like, how many thousands of dollars did they pay for this? We're like, well, we got an iPad that we've had sitting around on a shelf. What can we do with that? And in some cases, you can accomplish the same outcome. I mean, it just doesn't look as pro or whatever. We'll play Kahoots. I don't know if you're familiar with Kahoots, but it's like a trivia type of a game. And so we can put that up on our video board and people can interact with their phone, and go through the trivia game. So Ryan will configure a trivia for sports or something from 1992.
Usually like
trivia guy too, huh?
Well, like if we've got, let's say, Huron, South Dakota High School coming to town, we'll have some questions about Huron and some questions about Watertown, and to get the visiting fans involved in there too.
So that fan and crowd engagement stuff, as much as we can do with the budget we have, we want to do. And so that's both focusing on or trying to focus on both the in-house and the broadcast at the same time. And some of that goes up on the broadcast, some of it's only in-house, but just kind of depending on what we want to separate and what we want to show. And
there's a lot of idea hacking is the
right.
term.
That's right.
And I don't know, you're probably finding it out, right? Obviously from going to Boston and doing it, but people that are like in your roles all across the country, producers and broadcasters, are always seem super nice and willing to share ideas of how they did stuff.
We're both in Facebook groups where I can scroll through Facebook any minute of the day and I see people who have all sorts of ideas that I'm like, I should try something like that. I should see what that does or how we could incorporate something like that here.
How you guys talking to operate about this? Really sounds like a minor league baseball team type deal where you're you're up to just trying things and entertaining.
100% we are.
I mean, like it's sometimes we'll kind of laugh at ourselves too. Like we've tried a pylon cam for football. We've tried the alternate broadcast where you'd have
that was a complete failure.
All of the camera angles. So like you can see all like 8 camera angles, and we had a camera that was like in the production booth, and
those frames on Prime.
Well, it's that kind of thing. We thought, let's try that, and
and what happened with that actually is it took over our main broadcast. So everyone was seeing these 8 different camera screens on the thing, and they're like, well, we can't really watch whatever it was, baseball, basketball, whatever. We can't really watch an actual game with your 8 different camera angles. And we're like, oh, yeah, shoot, that's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be on an alternate channel,
Oh, there you go. But you tried it. You're looking at different things and trying different things.
That's the nice thing. I mean, we're talking about high school sports in the end. So, like, if it doesn't work, it's not like, I mean, we might have, I think we've topped out at like something like 6, how many thousand people? Like,
Oh, I don't know.
We had like five or 6,000 people like as concurrent viewers at any time. So it's not like NBC or whatever where like you're going to irritate at most 5,000 people. So it's
you're going to sponsor breathing down your neck for millions of dollars because you mess up a commercial.
Right. Yeah. So it gives you
try to cut to a sponsor break occasionally.
Yeah.
And, get those in. Of course, we need to show them some love, but it's about the kids. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's about what the program is trying to do is show high school sports or high school activities and whatever we can do to do that.
Very Savannah Banana like where it's all about the fans, it's all about the kids and everything. And you said tried a pylon camera as well. What why is that not anymore? Like what happened there?
So I work for the city of Watertown, right? And that has a park and rec department, and they've got a youth football program. And I know a couple of our kids, their dad is like one of the park and rec directors. But you got an extra pylon floating around, so like he scored me a pylon. I wouldn't even know where to buy a pylon.
I know, get one of them.
And I had one of our officers had a GoPro, so we're like carved out a little spot in it. Like we're not talking about a $50,000 setup like they have. This is a GoPro that's wirelessly transmitting out to an iPad, which we're wirelessly sending to the production booth.
That sounds awesome. But what could go wrong?
Yeah, I know. It's like
for 2 minutes,
unstable connection and
wireless to wireless.
There was like some kid dove and knocked it out and it popped out of the pylon.
That would have been a better story.
It would have been a better story. Not as nearly
From now
as
on,
exciting.
that's what happened.
That's right. That is exactly what happened.
Touchdown, popped it out, broke the GoPro. Not in the budget to replace. Done with the pylon camera.
Right. So you guys said you're in Facebook groups and trying to get different ideas, and we have an event where people come and share ideas. It's the Daktronics High School Video Summit. Are you guys thinking of attending that coming up?
I know I'm signed up for the virtual version of that. I know Ryan has been to that in the past.
I've been to that once in the past, I think, and 2 years ago, I think. Okay. We hosted it in Watertown, like one of the on-site things. It was shortly after we got to be kind of like new video boards. We were doing our thing, and they wanted to come and have the in-house part of it in Watertown, or the on-site part in Watertown.
Yeah, to come see the #1 streaming high school sports in South Dakota. You got to see in person.
So you got to share ideas. Did you get to learn any ideas at the same time? Was it a pretty good event for you?
That was a great resource. In fact, that's where I first learned that there are like jobs out there in game day production stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know how many that Daktronics has. Like we talked about Eric Ray. There's other versions of Eric Ray at some very large schools all throughout the country, and kind of what a cool job. You get to go direct game day productions at SEC football games and stuff.
Run that stuff. Well, even on the pro level, I think you guys have professional people employed by Daktronics that's running it for, say, like the Minnesota Wild or something, right? So that's the way that I think it's done primarily is, you have a Daktronics employee who knows all the equipment, who has all the resources and all the support, and they can bring that stuff in and make the production for the team work how they need it. So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's a different career path. Like we mentioned, you can do it in college while you're in college, graduate. You can also come back and still work in college as a freelancer even, or go to professional sports or be a freelancer for there. Yep. Because, we know a lot of different people there for a freelance company, but they'll do things for like the hockey team, this. Yeah. Even friend Cisco, who's going to be at the Video Summit this year, we got to know him. He's out in LA and he does stuff for the Dodgers, the Clippers at the Intuit Dome, but he's just kind of like a freelancer. But it's one of those.
It's cool.
And you can still win championship rings.
Yeah, he's still got rings.
He got a picture with his 3 championship rings because he was helping do event production.
And those people are presenting sometimes at the Video Summit too. So it's like it's really neat to hear from those people that are doing that.
Yeah, and I think Francisco's one of the keynotes this year. So have to keep. Yeah. So you're doing the virtual. You're not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year. And this is your first time doing it.
Yep, my first time. Yep.
Okay. So did you kind of say like, hey, one of us needs to go to these things?
The thing is he's at the school getting paid to do that. I've got a job during the daytime. Do I want to burn?
Comp, right?
So,
I forgot.
You don't just do this all the time?
Every time I go do one of these productions, I got to either burn a day of vacation or let's hope it's in the nighttime and stuff. So
it's a part-time interest for you that you just had to jump into.
But more of a hobby for me than anything. And that's a hobby for Austin too.
100%. Yeah.
Well, when a hobby is your real job,
it's awesome. Win, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not working, right?
Right. It's not working when you love what you're doing. There you go. So we've talked a lot about different production angles and starting everything up from Aero TV. Do you have any advice for somebody out there who's looking to maybe start a production at a high school level or improve what they've already got going? Any advice for those people out there that are in the same realm?
I think just don't whatever you want to jump into, first of all, kind of consider the time and the money and the students that you're going to need to do this. I mean, you can't do what we do right away.
That's right.
And I don't want to. I joke about us being the best in the state and all that. I mean, we are. but you can't get to that right away. Just start out using like the huddle cam and add some commentary to it. Nothing worse than watching a football game and just having you can barely hear the PA announcer telling you. Just start small and then build from there. But keep it kid centered. I think that's the thing that has made us, I don't know about successful, but happy for what we're doing. Is it's all about our production kids and the kids that are down on the playing surface doing their thing too. Everything that we do is to promote our student athletes and to give our production students some kind of skill that they're going to learn or something to do really. Make it about the kids. Nothing worse than having I'm watching a live stream and there's 15 different sponsors on the no, NBC doesn't do that. CBS doesn't do that. Let's there's other ways to get the sponsor stuff in there. But make it about the kids, not about the sponsors, not about the school.
Sponsorship soup. That's another term.
Yeah.
You got anything to add to that?
Well, I mean, if somebody's looking to start a program just from scratch, there's a lot of learning that has to happen, and there's always people who are willing to talk about it. I would say if you have a college or a technical school or some place nearby that you can consult with that may have a media production class or some people who know about cameras and know about kind of how to connect them. How do you have multiple cameras connected to a video switcher? How do you do that kind of stuff? Because you can certainly go out and watch a lot of YouTube videos on it, but why don't you talk to somebody who maybe teaches high school kids if you're looking to do it at a high school level, or if you're looking to do it at a college level, which I'm sure most colleges probably have something like this already, but they can figure it out, right? And so equipment wise, if you're looking to purchase equipment, first try and see if a college or a high school or someplace nearby has some they don't use anymore. Because that's exactly how we acquired a couple cameras for us. And once you have those 2 cameras, now you just need 2 operators. You have a 2 camera setup. You can go from there. So it just starts small and grow as big as you want.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere. I think we've learned that. We've heard that plenty of times. And try new things.
That's 100%.
Trying different things and finding out what works. But I really like that. Keep it centered on those students and kid folks.
Find yourself a Ryan that knows everyone in the crowd.
Somebody that's well connected with the community.
Hey. Well, I remember when we were trying to find commentators originally. I mean, I'm refereeing over in our auxiliary gym, and then during a timeout, this is up to pregame, the under sub-varsity games, and during a timeout or whatever, hey, can you want to in an hour? Do you want to go up and be a commentator for us? And nobody wanted to do it originally. Now they're beating down our door. Everybody wants to be.
They want to do it.
It's everybody's dream job. Right? Every guy has grown up wanting to be like a commentator.
Or I can do better than that.
Yeah.
There you go. You created demand for that. There you go. So.
And nowadays, this stuff doesn't cost that much money either. I mean, you can put together for literally under $10,000 a pretty decent video switchers. Or I mean, everything we do is HDMI based because that's kind of a prosumer, consumer kind of realm. So I mean, you can acquire this stuff for far less than $10,000. I mean, for $10,000, you could have a pretty decent production.
You can, and you don't need to necessarily shoot for the stars right away either. You don't need the best equipment to get started with a 2 camera setup. Just find 2 cameras with a clean HDMI feed, plug it into a video switcher, and stream it.
And I also get the feeling from both of you, there's another don't overthink it kind of.
For sure.
Yeah. Do we overthink talking to the 3 generations in the crowd, or just go do it? You just went and did it.
Yeah, just go do it. Just go do it. Exactly.
Okay, so get started however you can. Great advice. And Austin, Ryan, thank you for joining us and talking all about Watertown and what they've got going on in Aero TV.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.